Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead, back with another Get Started with the Age of Sigmar video. So, as per usual, if you like this type of video, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys, it goes a massive way to helping out the channel too. So, in this series of videos, we have already covered the Grand Alliance of Order, so now we need to move on, and we're going to move on to the Forces of Destruction. So, the way these videos work is we are theoretically going to spend £200. Obviously, I'm not going to be spending £200 on each individual army because I would be financially crippled after that. So, this is my personal choice. Going off the prices of GW's website and third-party retailer, for this I've chosen Element Games. Obviously, we're not sponsored by Element Games, so if you want to choose a different third-party retailer, you can. There are plenty out there. Wayland Games, Goblin Gaming, Leodis Gaming, Broadsword Wargaming, Alchemist's Workshops. Your choice. Find the one that suits you. Some of them have loyalty schemes, so it's always worth having a look into. And, yeah, sometimes you'll save some money with third parties, so why not? So, it makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? Anyway, with this, the idea is with the list, we are not going to double up on Vanguard boxes. Now, obviously, the very first video of this series, we discussed the Cities of Sigmar. Obviously, since then, they have announced that the Spearhead box is coming out, and you get pretty much everything I said, and you'll get it slightly discounted. So, in all honesty, the Cities of Sigmar one you can kind of half ignore. Just pick up that box when it comes out, and then change a few things, and away you go. Have a bit of fun with it. Anyway. Moving on, we're going to start with the Orruk Warclans for this video. There are actually 3 different groups of Orruk Warclans, so I've actually decided to do all 3 different groups, which is a weird way of doing it because there's only one Vanguard box. So, for 3 different groups, you can choose Savage Orruks, Cruel Boys, or Ironjaws. We're going to actually begin with the Savage Orruks for this video. And we're going to have a look at what you can get for £200 just using Savage Orruk units. So, as I say, these guys do not have a Vanguard box. They only have a small variation in units as well, in all honesty. It's a little bit pathetic in a roundabout way. So, but who knows what GW are going to release in the future. I don't think they even know sometimes. Anyway, moving on. Firstly, to get this army started, I would go with a Wurgog Prophet. It's a single mini unit. It's meant to be a resin kit, hopefully not a fine cast resin kit because they're terrible. But now this is a really good looking Orruk. 18 quid, but it's really good. It's a Prophet. So it's a wizard, and it has wizardly abilities and powers. So you could utilise that as your leader of your Savage Orruks. It will do the job it needs to do. So it's not too bad. Then I would actually go with the Warhammer Underworld's Warband. So this one is Headcracker's Mad Mob. These guys, 4 minis, £25. It's pretty cool as well. In other words, in all honesty, Headcracker is also a Prophet, so also another wizard, and looks very stylish with his mask on. He also is accompanied by an Arrow Boy, a guy with a sticker and a chopper, so they are really, really good fun. And I do genuinely like any of the Warhammer Underworld's warbands. They look really, really cool. Getting hold of them can be a pain in the ass sometimes, but this is a really good unit. So I would get this because it's pretty cool. Then I'm going to add cavalry units to it. So we're going to go with the Savage Boar Boys. So they look pretty cool. The boars have a slightly derpy look on their face because they're a slightly older mini, but they look really nice. I genuinely do like them, and cavalry units are always pretty good. And in all honesty, Orruks don't really have a lot in the way of cavalry style units, so this one's a pretty cool one and pretty special as well. And who doesn't want to see a big giant green thing riding around on a massive giant boar, because it's a bit of fun, isn't it, really? Now, there is only one more box I would buy. However, I would buy that box 3 times. The reason for this is it makes 3 different units. So, if you bought one box, you can make them into Arrow Boys, or you can make them into Moor Boys, or you can make them into a bog standard Savage Orruks. So, this is the Savage Orruks box, It just depends on which weapons you want to give them, depends on how they look and what they do. So you could have a variation. So if you bought three boxes, you could have one of each, or you could have two of one and one of another, or any variation of that. So it's pretty decent. £37.50 per box. But yeah, I quite like them. They're pretty interesting. They're very, very, very different as well. And that is it for the Savage Orruks. There is generally very little else you can get for under £200 with these guys. So this at the moment would set you back from GW around about £193. About £173 from a third party retailer. So you're only saving about 20 quid. And it's a 970 point army. It's not the biggest army, but it's also not the lowest as well. So it's not too bad, but lack of availability of certain boxes is going to be a pain in the ass if you're going to follow that list. That's the only downside to it. Then we're going to move on to our second group of Orruks, and that is the Ironjaws. These guys also lack that Vanguard box. So we will begin with a single unit, and for this we're going to use an Ardboy Big Boss to be our war leader. £22.50, but he looks pretty stylish and cool at the same time. So very, very much worth it in my opinion. And then I'm going to add another single character unit to it as well. I would add in a Weird Knob Shaman to give us wizardly expertise, and of course a little bit of that good old war magic to add as a little bit of range, because the main thing that the Ironjaws lack is range, in my opinion. And then obviously we need to add in units. So I personally would add in 2 lots of Ardboys, so 10 minis in each unit, and you could use them with stickers or choppers or mixture of them. Entirely up to you how you want to go about doing it. You could have a company of stickers, you could have a company of choppers, and do it that way if you wanted to. Entirely up to you though, but that's how I personally would do it. So I would get 2 boxes of them because, you know, it bolsters out that unit count. And then I would be adding in some heavier units as well. So I would go in with some brutes. You already get 5 minis, so the value for money is a little bit hit and miss with this one. There are some build variations with uniqueness depending on which weapons you want to put with each mini, but you know, it adds to it. They're a bit heavier, a bit stronger, and they have a bit more weighty attacks. And then finally I would add in a unit of Brute Ragers. Now this is a unit of 3 minis. They're slightly less armoured than the Orruk Brutes, but they have some big cool two-handed weapons that dish out some damage, so it's not too bad, and they have a bit of toughness to them and they look pretty cool at the same time. Now if you were going to get this lot, this would set you back £192.50 from GW. You're talking around about £164 mark though from third party retailers, which is really good value for money. However, you do have the lowest points value for the 3 different types of Orruk army, and that's 820 points. So you do need to expand on it a little bit to get closer to that 1,000 point mark, or to get over it, but you will have time to do so. So that's the way of doing it. Now that leaves us with one more group of Orruk, and that is obviously the newest type of Orruk, the Cruel Boys. So as you can guess, the Cruel Boys are the ones that have the Vanguard box. In this Vanguard box you get a Killer Boss on Great Gnashtooth, a Merc Knob with Belcher Banner, the awesome Beast Skewer Killbow, 3 Man-Skewer Bolt Boys, and 10 Gut Rippers. A really good start to an Orruk Cruel Boys army, setting you back £85 from GW, or about £72, £73 from third party retailers. This is really, really good start though for a Cruel Boys army. Genuinely, you got some really good units in there. That Beast Skewer Killbow is pretty beastie, and so the Man-Skewer Bolt Boys are really good fun as well. Then I'm going to go something completely different. I'm going to go for something big with this army, and I'm going to go with the Snatcher Boss on Sludge Raker Beast. It's a big mini, however it takes a lot of punishment on the battlefield, 14 wounds, and the more wounds it takes changes how its attacks work, so it's a pretty cool one. Genuinely a really good mini. One I must admit I've not got and do want to get my hands on, and yeah, should be really good fun, but it's really nice as well, so it's a pretty cool one. And then sticking with units to take quite a bit of a beating, I would go with a Marsh Crawler Slogoth. Now these guys look weird, they're very unusual, they have a crew of grots on its back, but they have a uniqueness to them as well, so they are really good. Takes 12 wounds to kill it, so that's pretty decent going already. So they do become targets, but another one where its characteristics change, more wounds it takes, so definitely worth having a look into. And then finally I would add something far smaller. I'm going to go with a box of Hobgrot Slitters. Now there is a reason for me choosing a box of Hobgrot Slitters. You get 20 minis per box. However, a unit is only 10 minis, so you're getting 2 units for 1 box, which is pretty good going. So, the Hobgrot Slitters can utilise their knives, they can also utilise some shrapnel grenades that are generally shoddily built because they're grots. But, you know, for the price of 1, you're getting 20 minis, 2 different units, it's pretty good going. And they look very different, strikingly different from the rest of the grots and Orruks as well. So, with this one, if you were buying this army, it also comes in at £192.50 if you're buying it from GW. It is also fairly cheap from third-party retailers, coming in at around about the £157 mark, which is really good value for money for a 1,150 point army. So, this is my choice. I would go Cruel Boys all the way and then add in, with that extra £40 odd that you're saving from a third party retailer, add in something extra, whether it's you're going to get more Gut Rippers, you're going to add some Ard Boys to it, your choice. Go for some more battle line troops, so you want that main kind of foot soldiery, so whether it's Savage Orruks, Ard Boys or Gut Rippers, and you can get some really good units out of it. So pretty good stuff. Now obviously with the Orruk Warclans there is only one battle tome for them, so if you wanted to, you can have the big war setting essentially for your army, so you could have a combination of units. So if you wanted to, you could take out the sludge goal boss on Sludge Raker, you could have him, I don't know, swapped in for a group of Ard Boys, or you could take away the Hobgrot Slitters, have it as the Boar Boys if you wanted to from Savage Orruks. But so you can kind of mix and mash and meld all 3 different groups of Orruks together if you wanted to for the big war, and change up how it works. So your choice, but you know, have a bit of fun with it, have a play with it, and see how you feel with it. Now, that's it from me for this video. Obviously, we are going to look at the others very soon. So for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye now.